Hi everyone, this is Hussein Cornell with Autodesk Technical Support here, and for today we're going to be doing a webinar on building your VFX and CGIQ. So the idea behind this webinar is to introduce everyone to the whole process of the VFX and how we can use some of the Autodesk products in the collection that we have to go from an idea to a production. First of all, I want to thank you guys for coming out here and taking the time to check this out. And before I go any further, I do want to introduce the rest of the team. So let me go on to the next slide. If this thing will go to the next slide. And okay. And I guess they'll introduce themselves, those who are in attendance.
Hey guys, my name is Dominique Boussiette. So previously I've worked in production doing a lot of medical animation. I used to do a lot of forensic work for case trials that went to court. Aside from that, I worked at a studio producing a lot of in-house apps that you were able to rotate around 3D anatomy. But that's kind of just a little bit of my background, and I'm located in the Boston office in Massachusetts.
Hi everyone, my name is David Santos. I'll be co-presenting with Hussein today. I've been working with Maya for about 10 years and have been with Autodesk for 4 years, supporting Maya, Stingray, Mudbox, and Motionbuilder.
And I'm going to introduce John Bell. By the way, this is Hussein talking for John Bell. John Bell was working in industry for the last, I think, 13, 14 years, doing TV commercials. I think he worked he did a lot of things for, I believe, Discovery Channel and History Channel and that kind of thing. So he is well versed mainly in the 3D Max areas, knows very well the VFX pipeline, and he will be joining us with some of the other modules, and he will be actually presenting some of the other modules. Everyone here will be presenting some of the modules, and we will have guest speakers that will come to explain other products and things. And I'll just go on to myself. My name is Hussein Cornell. About 10 years ago, I worked at Autodesk as a consultant for some of the M&E products, and then I'm now back as a Autodesk Technical Support Specialist. And prior that in-between time, I worked in the visual effects industry as a freelance artist, and I got to work on every possible thing, from blockbuster movies to diaper commercials. So you name it, I have probably done it. So let me go on to my next slide, if this will go on. So really quickly, I wanted to give you guys kind of an overview of Gotowebinar. You can always tell other people, hey, come on back. This is really cool. This is what we're going to do. Just make sure that you can put your questions right here in the chat button. So I just wanted to give that kind of as a housekeeping thing. If you have a question, put it out there, and we'll have about 15 minutes for Q&A at the end, and then we'll go through and try to answer your questions as best we can. So without any further ado, I wanted to just touch bases on some of the things that we'll be covering throughout this course, or throughout this webinar series. Unlike certain webinars where it's a tip and tricks of just new features, what we're going to do is we're going to do a project that's going to, from the very beginning to the very end. We're going to hit it in what would be the VFX stage. So there's things that happen before coming to visual effects, and there's things that happen afterwards. And we'll get into some of that discussion. So to start out with, today I'm going to be mainly in Sketchbook Pro, which is our sketching and painting software. You can, I think, run it on just about any app you want underneath your subscription. So you would just log in. I have it on my phone, on my iPad. I have it on my two computers, and it's just that same one subscription. We'll be running through a lot of features in Maya. Will be how that ties into Mudbox, how it ties into 3D Max, how you would then get these assets into Stingray for either VR demonstrations, gameplay. We're also going to show a little bit about product visualization using Dread, and also some of the data management and scene management software that we have, Shotgun, which is one of the basis in this presentation today was kind of like, this pipeline idea. It's like everything has a framework of how it's going to be set up. And then again, we have our compositing, one of our compositing tools. We do have more, but I just put that smoke. So really quickly, I'm just going to go to the next slide. I didn't fill these in because I'm going to draw these in. So after this slide, I'm going to go into Sketchbook Pro, and we're going to get right down to it. So what is a VFX pipeline? Literally, it can be compared to an assembly line. Everybody has tasks, and we all have to go to the common goal, which is produce either a game, a commercial, a poster, something. And there are many parts to it. We're not going to talk about some of those parts which are sound design. We're not going to talk about the parts that are related to budget and so forth, which are a valid part. We do have to be aware of them because those do come into play when you have a VFX pipeline. Hopefully I'm not going too quick. I am going to close PowerPoint for now. Real quickly, I'm at brainstormdigital.com. This is a project I worked on I guess a couple years ago. And my job, I was hired as a freelance modeler, and was to model these ships and to do some other modeling on the show. So I want to just kind of show you a little bit. I know this might not play as desired, and I'm going to take the sound off. And I kind of just wanted to, oh, they're going to show the whole reel. Wait a minute, this is showing more. I wanted just that one. So here we go. That's the one I wanted. So this credit goes to Brainstorm Digital on this one. I'm just showing it from their website. So the task was, please do this modeling. So I had to then see what the script was, the time frame of these ships. When I got this job, I didn't get pictures. I didn't get anything. Many of these ships don't exist. I got a name. By the way, this ship, which sunk already, and we have no data on it, needs to be modeled, and it needs to be for the History Channel, and it needs to look perfect. So half the time was spent on research. As you can see, this was the initial plate, and there's one of my models, and you can see all the different steps that go involved. And we'll then we'll go through. You guys can just go through that. That was for Sons of Liberty. One quick thing that I wanted to let everybody know, you can always go to the Art of Vfx. I love this page because it shows us a little bit about what's going on. You see some of the breakdowns and some of the things that are going on in the industry. There's another short demo I wanted to show you guys, and if you guys could go to this Vimeo channel, Vfx Breakdowns, which is another really cool one. And I'm using this film made by Martin Lapp. It was basically his graduation short from film school. So it was just kind of a quick breakdown of some of the things that happened, because many times we see these really cool things, and I know the frame rate might not play very well, so I'm just going to really quickly, you can start seeing things are changing. You see color correction, you see a lot of effects, you see all sorts of things that are happening that were done, on the VFX side. And I'm playing it with no sound, so you guys can start seeing some of these really, really cool things. Again, I don't take credit for any of this work. I just saw it as a very good demonstration for you guys to see some of the things that go in. And I'm going to pause this really quickly, and then I'm going to go back to our Sketchbook Pro. So again, I hope I didn't go too fast. You can get the link here. I'm actually going to put this link in the chat so you guys can take a look. So that is, did everybody get that? Hopefully everybody got that. Okay, very cool. And I'm actually going to send you guys the one from the company that I did that work for, from Brainstorm Digital, so you guys can see see the work there. I also worked on their other film, Nerve. I did a lot of the modeling for that. But going back, oops. So anyway, really quickly, just so you can see, Sketchbook Pro. This is, you can also follow along by using the free version. The difference between the free version is that you don't get all the nice layers, and you can't get a lot of the custom brushes, but it still works just the same, and you can use it for free. So without further ado, going back to Sketchbook Pro. So what is a VFX production, and why is it important to have a pipeline? So visual effects, or VFX, is really, equals everything that comes after the shoot. You have the camera, the shoot. This is, well, you know what? After. This comes after. So to complement, so this comes to complement, the real shot, the shot that was done on camera. We do have productions that are fully CG, which then you wouldn't have that. So we have, let me just create another layer and keep my thoughts. Sometimes I go off kilter, so those that are helping me moderate keep me on track. So the first thing we have is pre-production. I'm just going to write pre-prod. So this would be before, this is before the camera starts rolling. This would be before the camera starts rolling if you're doing film or TV. For games, this is your R&D. This is actually even before R&D. This is your script. This is your game design document. So this would be your game doc, which is probably the Bible for most games. It's one of the most important things. It's your framework. So you can look at this pre-production is almost being a foundation to what's going to go into a production. So what happens in the pre-production? So we have storyboards. This is the storyboards that came from, a script. Pre-production also, talks about logistics like set design, your actors, their costume, budget, that kind of thing. I'm not going to touch on those. There's a lot of really good books. I'm going to send you guys some links later on some good books so you guys can get on this information. That is completely out of the, per se, the scope of this webinar, since it doesn't really touch on the products that we have. This actually touches on people skills. So, storyboard, script. We have pre-visualization, and across all the different things that we talked about, right? So we have film, TV, games, and dev, and then we have product visualization, which would be, images for catalogs, marketing teams, and that kind of thing. And let me put this back over here. So then we would have these kind of things. Another thing that you would do in pre-production, sometimes this is done on the production side, sometimes you wait for the production side. And here you can start creating assets. Like, let's say you already know you're going to make a film and you're going to have, big boats in them from a certain time period. Well, I can hire a modeler to start modeling. So at that point, okay, we can get ahead of the game. So by the time production starts, or post-production, which is really where VFX takes hold, we have some of these things already made. Another thing is, you gather lighting information. And again, my spelling sometimes I think faster than I can actually write. The HD, gathering, maybe capturing HDR images, and that sort of thing. So really quickly, this is the foundation, also planning stage. And this is before the camera starts rolling. Then we have what's called production, which is cameras rolling. By the way, there's a lot of back and forth here. So maybe your HDRs, you captured some beforehand, but the lighting totally changed when the cameras came out rolling. We have to get new information. So in the production, for your VFX to fit, you need to know a lot of things. You need to collect a lot of data. So I'm going to come back to this data point a lot. So in a VFX pipeline is really equal to this: data management. And I'm actually going to check real quick to see if there's any questions, if anybody's put anything up yet or not. 2 seconds. All right, so I know we have a Q&A, but I kind of want to gauge what people are thinking. So thank you for the questions there. Keep them coming. So at this point, I'm going to create a new. A new folder. This is very simple, guys. I love how easy it is to work with these. I can hide them and go. I mean, it's really, you have access to a ton of really fun brushes. It's very seamless. So I also do a lot of texture painting within Sketchbook Pro. Very, very useful. So back to some of the things that we do in at the production side. Another one is we do, green screen. And, this is where you set up your markers. And again, collect data. The better you do this step, the better you're going to be. So if I'm in Maya and I'm having to model, or am I in 3D Max and I'm having to model this, a certain set, or I'm making a set extension, and then I want to render it to match whatever they had. And let's say, it was shot, and, this was a 18 millimeter lens, and it has a crazy distortion. In Maya, I make it, and I want to render it out. I have to have, an oversized image that then I can apply a distortion to. If not, it's not going to work. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of math. I'm going to have to be able to figure this out. But if I don't know that this was an 18 millimeter lens, and if I don't know that, when I set my marker here and here and here, I shot, at 5 feet away, and I had an f-stop, of 2.8, etc. I'm not going to know how to match that correctly. And it's going to cause tons of trouble down the road. Another thing that happens on both the pre-production and production is research and development. And unlike most assembly lines, a VFX assembly line isn't one that's just linear. It doesn't go like this. There is a lot of back and forth. So let's say I did a Previz, PV for Previz, and I'm like, hey, look at this. And then, and then I went to modeling because that was approved. And then, what? Maybe I went to animation after that Previz. And Previz is when you just block things out. And then I went to anim. And, well, you would have to have rigging here, sorry. As you can see, it starts getting pretty complex. So it would go from here, and then would go back to here. And, the animator says, you know what? I can't make my squid, rotate in this way because the way it was modeled doesn't work. Uh-oh, take it back to modeling. Well, I got that from Previz, and that's what they wanted. So is this going to change, or is this going to stay the same? And maybe they do a new version, and then okay, the model changes. Oh, the rig has to be updated. Now the animator says, okay, I'm happy. In this meantime, we also have a texture artist who is happily, happily painting textures and also creating the UVs. Let's not forget the all-important UVs. And, when this model was changed, oops, my texture got blown away. I have to start over again. So you're going back and forth, and there's many, many steps here. Another layer. So then the post-production. At this point, everything has been shot. Everything has been totally shot. This is where you are going to be doing your plate preparation, because you have to have something shot before you can prep it. Also a conform. I probably spelled that completely wrong. You might be doing some color correction. I'm putting CC. And then you might be undistorting these plates to a certain extent and adding all sorts of stuff, which is part of this process. And then at this point, you're going to be going into the departments of, modeling. I'm just going to write mod. You also have motion capture data, mocap, I should have just put in there. Animation. This is, you get more in depth. Rigging, hopefully you've created some rigs in the production stage to get ahead of the game, but sometimes that's not possible. There's a lot of R&D that was going on before, and now you're actually doing. You might have your, I'm going to put particle effects, simulations, so sims. This includes everything: smoke, fire, destruction, etc. This all, let's say you do a destruction simulation, and it's not quite what they had envisioned, back over here in the planning, or maybe it turned a different way. Hey, you know what? We're thinking of maybe changing. Instead of having these swirls, we're going to have these, this other effect. Okay, let's go back to the drawing board, and we're back over here. So we're going to go through all these steps. So really quickly, I'm still watching my time. I'm trying to cram as much information as I can. This is the most important part. And we are going to go through every single step using the products that we have. So we are going to get a chance to actually set up, and I'm going to jump out here. We're going to set up. We're going to be using Shotgun. I did just a quick little mock-up. This is a model I got off Turbo Squid. Did some changes to it. This was for an internal project. We were supposed to do something with these planes that got stuck in the glaciers. And this was just a quick little project that I started. And here you can hand out tasks, who's going to be doing what, and set up your projects, calendars, and there's a lot that you can do. Why is this important? You check in, you check out, who's working on what. That way you don't reinvent the wheel twice. If you have people working in different time zones, you know when to expect something. And back again, data management. You have huge amounts of data. So, you have terabytes, or whatever the number after that comes, of data that's just flowing from one place to another. Each pipeline is going to be unique to itself. So we're going to create one from scratch. So back to our to this webinar series, what we've decided to do, we've decided to create, and I'm just going to open up some ref. So we've decided to create a story that's post-apocalyptic sci-fi. And I didn't want to go with something that was, I didn't want to go Mad Maxy kind of, because I didn't want to, we have too much violence going on right now. I said, okay, let's go on something a little bit better. And one of the first things you do is the R&D step. So at this point, I am going a little bit, I'm kind of creating the script as we go. I got the script, but I'm kind of creating the look dev. So I am going a little bit before the VFX pipeline. So without any further ado, these images, again, I got off of Google. I'm not taking credit for any of this. So I just want to show you guys that this is just, when I saw this, I said, okay, this is kind of cool for an environment. That would possibly be kind of a post-apocalyptic. We kind of let things go, and the world has taken over. Actually, I wanted to use the preview because I don't want to have to open up DJ View every single time. And for the first bit, actually, I'm going to create another one because I can. So we are going to create a character, and we're going to go through all the 3 different steps. So how would this be under Previz? Not Previz, Product Viz. Sorry, guys. Product Viz. How would this work for film and TV? How would this work for games? So I want to create the same asset and go through it. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a gadget that our character is going to be using in this post-apocalyptic period. It's going to be, we're creating an engineer that's going to be, out in this environment, this pretty crazy environment, and this is going to be kind of their little, lifesaver. It's kind of a cliche, I guess, if you think of some of the games that are out there and some of the gadgets that they have to use. But anyway, I thought it would be kind of fun to make something that was kind of the steampunk feel and something that we could really showcase, like one of those really, excuse the term, but one of those really sexy watch commercials where you see all the really nice stuff. So that was going to be the first thing. So we're going to create a gadget, and we're going to showcase it in all these. How do we create the level of details for games? How do we use both Maya and 3D Max and Mudbox to then create this? And then how do we get this using Maya and 3D Max to create really beautiful poster images, but also how do we then transfer that to a product like VRED or VRED? Then we're going to create our character. And then we're going to create a vehicle. And that's just the L, sorry, it looks like a H. And we're going to create the environment. And this course is going to be ongoing for the next year or two, however long it takes us. And the more input we get from you guys, the better. And I really want it to be kind of this organic process where we're all part of this and we're able to use these tools. So I did just some Google research. Again, I'm not taking credit for any of these images, just Google them. I was like, what kind of feel can we get? This is kind of a cool looking idea for, then again, you don't even have to look at people's artwork. Sorry, this is a picture from the current state of Syria. That kind of looks post-apocalyptic. So this is kind of a future car with solar panels. I saw this bracelet. I said, oh, maybe a bracelet that has tools on it would be cool. I saw maybe we're wearing a suit with breathing apparatuses. I don't know how this, as we go, we're going to start developing this. I know with this one, I don't have this story completely fleshed out, which is kind of fun to go through some of that design process, because I think we skip that many times with webinars. We just go, hey, this is how you use the new, X-Gen hair tool, or this is how you do just this little thing. And it's like, how would I apply that to a project? How do I get from A to Z instead of just showing me X? So that's what we're going to go through. Some ideas of environments. Where does our character live? What does this gadget feel like? What would a vehicle be like? I saw some really cool shots. So this is kind of what I'm going to try to go for, something that looks like really sexy like this, but it's for both our, visualization, game, and TV and film. So this is just me going through. I like this exoskeleton thing that I, one of the feature films that came out recently, and I thought this was kind of cool. I know there's a few other films that came out during that same time period that kind of use this, maybe something of that. some of the tools that this person would have. I thought this was a cool, survival axe thing. What would our person be wearing? This is just something I got off online. Here's some other kind of reference that I went through. So these are kind of some of the things that I thought this was one of the coolest watches out there. I don't know. I just thought it was cool. It had like this breathing thing. Sorry, I got distracted there. But things like that. How can we get inspired by the work that's around us and be creative with it, and then use this process? One of the biggest issues that I see going with productions is so I'll give you an example of a production that I helped did a little consulting for, and won't mention any names or anything. I'll be very vague on it, so no hurt feelings out there. So what happened was I went to see somebody was creating a shot for TV. And they had to create all these 3D assets, right? Let's say they were buildings or whatever, and then and then they shot their people. Hi, hello. Here's my little people. These are real, shot on camera. This is all green screen behind them, and then we incorporated CG elements in the background. As the production went, this got more atmospheric. Not what am I trying to say? It got blurred, it got darkened, it got to the point to where this could have been just matte painted images that could have just been in the background. That would have taken maybe 2 weeks for an artist, painting in Sketchbook Pro and using images off Google and so forth. But instead, they chose to make the most amazing CG assets with lighting, and I mean, the renders themselves just took forever. So on this part, you took 5 months. And who knows how much, because they were using cloud rendering, that cost them a lot of money. So back to budget, that's very, very important. Time is of an essence. So if you don't have a good framework, you're going to get lost in time. You're not going to set the deadline correctly, which comes to the very important reason is that we have to have communication. So everyone has to communicate. Here's the modeler. They created their model. They sent it over to the texture artist. They could be the very same person even. You could fill all these hats yourself, to tell you the truth. And once that gets done, maybe at this point it's going to the rigger, but then at this point it gets sent back. Is this what you wanted? Maybe at this point the director, is looking at this and saying, no, that looks terrible, redo. So then these steps, if they don't know that this guy right here has already said that this is no longer valid, you're going to waste a lot of time over here. So checking in, checking out, version control, and etc. So very firstly, the goal here is for us to start out. We're going to start out in Maya, and here's Maya. We're going to be using Maya 2017, and I don't expect you guys to have Maya loaded up right now. The thing to remember, next time when we come in, we're going to get straight into Maya. We're going to start on the modeling process, which we're going to be using the modeling toolkit, which is really, really awesome toolkit to use for modeling. It's made things a lot quicker than prior versions. And we're also going to be looking at Shotgun. And there is a free trial available if you go to the Shotgun software. There is a lot of information here. You can see some of the tools that they have where you can check to see what else is going on. Another software that we do have, which is part of Shotgun, is RV, and that is so you can check your renders, and it's just a really good image processor. Or actually, it's you can kind of look at you can kind of go through here and see some of the things that you can do. Let's see how my time is. I guess I still have a little bit more time. I went quicker than I thought. This is actually great. Again, I would go through, look at all these VFX breakdowns. That's a good one. They have a bunch more. Go through so you understand. Many of you might already have worked on some of these things that are on here. Those of you who haven't, ask questions, and that's the best way to go forward, is to ask questions. And let me go back to here. So we're going to talk about naming conventions. The why, the reasons why we do this. Of course, the reason why is, you want efficiency. You want efficiency, which, I guess equals, that shouldn't be that sign. It should be equals, cheaper. One of the things I remember when I was first working in, doing lighting is the term expensive. Don't make the renders expensive. You have to make it cheaper. And expensive meant, expensive was equal to time. The more time, the much more money it's going to cost. And the much more frustrated you're going to be, because if you worked on something and you didn't get the feedback, and then you have to go redo it again, you're going to be frustrated, and other people in that team are going to be frustrated. So in this webinar, the main concern is using the tools correctly. I've seen some really cool demos where, we're doing this awesome explosion and you're doing this amazing thing. It's like, oh, I want to do that. And it's like, do you need it in your actual shot? Is that necessary? How would that fit into your shot? Is that going to add value? Does that tell story? Is that really, are there other ways to do this that are cheaper? And that again goes back to, if we remember right, that goes back to the planning, the foundation. So when you build a building, if you have a strong foundation, you're going to have a building that's not going to fall apart. If you have a very weak foundation and you're kind of wishy-washy going into the project, we're going to definitely have humongous problems. We're going to basically, we're going to get down the production and then have to redo a lot of things. And that causes all sorts of things. The more data you collect, the better it is, but the more data you have, the better you have to manage it. Because what will end up happening is you'll have so much data, which version. Let's say I have, 239 versions of, this is version 239 of, shot, 2. And maybe the one that the director likes is 219. So, I can't delete all the ones after, I have to keep everything. Because maybe, somebody did something on 219 that actually worked. But we said, maybe change the lighting, make it different. And by the time we got to 39, we got so off track that we have to go back. There's also the other thing, and being in technical support, this is one thing I see a lot. And because of, maybe there's a code error, maybe incompatibility, maybe electricity shut down, you have a corrupted file. What do? I lost version 239. Uh-oh, did I have a backup? if you didn't, and it's amazing. I have gotten cases where somebody will say, oh my God, my file won't open anymore, it's corrupt. And I was like, do you have a different version? They're like, no. And then I noticed that they started working on this thing 6 months ago. I was like, oh my God, it's over. It's game over, which is something nobody wants to hear. So I'm going to launch a quick poll. So what's going to happen is that I want to know if you guys want to see these once a month or once every 2 weeks. So we can put the effort in to get these out every 2 weeks or once a month. Looks like bi-weekly. It looks like we got to do a lot more homework. That's fine, guys. That's what we're here for, and we really want you guys to go on this. If you have anything to share, this is what it's all about. It's part of being a community. It's part of everybody helping each other. One of the biggest things that I've learned working in the VFX industry is that it's made up by so many components and so many people, and we all have to work together. And of course, back to communication. How are we getting this done, and are we doing the steps correctly? Yes, there will be times where things don't work right. There are times where we do research and development on certain things and we've wasted time. So we do have some really cool things, learning, more content that you can look at Autodesk the area. You have some galleries. Again, here is my personal website. Well, actually, I have two, but this is one that I put on. I was using Behance. I do have one, but it isn't fully fleshed out. I don't even know if it's public yet on the area, but I will be working on that. You can just kind of see some of the things that I've been up to. And again, Vfx Breakdowns. This one is a really good one. I don't know if I missed anything while I was talking.
Here's a question that came in. As far as your plans for the webinar series, is it going to be focused on a huge project with like multiple people, or is it also, or would it also be something that would relate to a project for like 1 to 3 people?
So right now I'm going to be talking about a big theme, humongous theme that can be done by one person. So we have we're going to be making a gadget. So we're all going to learn how to model in Maya, how to model in 3ds Max, and then how to create this. And then we're going to see by if you don't own the product, by using the trial and so forth. To then how do I get this into maybe Stingray or maybe into VRED and so forth. The character, we're going to go through. So with the gadget, we're going to be doing hard surface modeling. Surface, as you can see, I love spelling. It was always my favorite subject. I did not win the spelling bee. We'll let you know that right off the bat. Blame it on my mother. I love her to death, but yes, we spell very well, very much the same. We spiel. So, we're going to be doing hard surface modeling. Then we're going to get into creating our character and the character's clothing, and it could be an exoskeleton kind of suit, and that would be organic modeling with probably some hard surface, but a lot more advanced. We're going to be getting into a lot more mudbox and a lot more sculpting, and some tricks that we can use throughout the way. So I'm going to try to use everything that I used to use in the industry as a VFX artist to create modeling. I worked as a modeling lead, as a texture artist, and as a lighting technical director. So everything that I can impart on that, I will. The other thing we'll do, we'll touch bases on rigging. We're going to be using probably more on the simple side. I'm not going to go that too advanced on the rigging. We're going to be using the human IK rigs. And there is one product that I forgot to mention. So I did forget Motionbuilder, and I did want to touch bases because we will be applying motion capture data to our character once it's done. Yes, and we have Flame as well, but I probably won't be touching on flame. I might get a professional flame artist to come out here, probably get one of my friends in the industry, movie industry, to come out here and probably give us a demo on an occasion, maybe at the very end when we're putting everything together and doing what's called the finishing, which would be almost on the editing side. I can bring somebody in and show some of those. And while we go through this, I have a list of some industry professionals that will be joining us, and I've reached out to them, and they're pretty happy to be part of this. So as we go, I'm going to be announcing these new people, and we'll have people that are really good in Stingray, really good in Fred, Mudbox, Shotgun, and so forth. And then you guys can really get basically, get the information from those that are using it professionally. And so back to the question that was asked earlier, is this going to be able to be done by one person? Yes, and we're going to then go through in Shotgun, and we're going to queue up our tasks. We're going to see, hey, who owns it? I'll probably do a mock-up like, hey, Dominique owns this now. David Santos owns it, John Bell, and myself, and you guys kind of get to see what we're doing. And then then from here we're going to be texturing, UVs, etc. And as we go, the themes get a little more difficult and a little more difficult. When we get to the vehicle, again, we're going to be doing hard surface, but we're probably going to get a little bit more complex. And then on the vehicle, we'll probably be doing a vehicle dynamic rig. That's going to be really fun. And then we're going to be doing environment, which goes into creating things, scripting that's going to help us out both on the vehicle rigging and also on the environment. We're going to get into some of the themes where you're using particles to scatter a bunch of trees, a bunch of rocks, depending on what we go with. And the other thing that I want to touch on is also modular building or asset creation, which is very big in games. And in some film and TV things, it probably won't hit too much on the product visualization. On the product visualization side, I'm not sure if I'm going to go all the way and show all of this, but we could. And I think it might be an interesting thing for us to investigate, because Fred can actually handle it, so people can see that, just because, you're calling it games doesn't mean you can't show a really awesome gadget that was able to be shown in the product viz side, as in the film side, as in in the game side, as we were saying. So just this fact that all these work together. The other thing we're going to be focusing on is interoperability. Very hard word there, which means how Autodesk has been in these past few years making their products work well together, where I can use features like Send2, I can use the FBX plugins, where I can seamlessly, using the Stingray link, I can on the fly change things in Maya or in Max, and boom, there they are in Stingray. So we've got on one side a product visualization shot already happening real time while we're even working on it, which is really, really cool. Even on a production value for a film, you can already see that working. The other, thinking forward, the other thing I might get into as well, and this kind of works on all of them, and that is the VR story. We do have Oculus and Vive here at the Boston Autodesk office, and that's something that our customers have been really asking a lot about. So that is something that we will get into, and I've already asked some of the Stingray experts if they could give us pretty awesome demos on that and how to get our assets to that point. Guys, we have 7 minutes left. Any more questions? Do you have anything else, Dominique? And let me see, where are we? I lost my questions tab. Sorry, guys. Awesome. So I didn't think we were going to be done with this that quickly. You guys were great. So you guys are awesome. As you can see, my spelling is amazing. But I can write backwards, so that always helps me out. Yeah, Dominique is laughing over here at my amazing spelling. And let me just recap, the different production methods. Actually, there was one, I wanted to give you guys a link to a book, and I'm not quite sure how am I going to do that. Let me see if I can find this here. So there is actually a book on Amazon. I'm going to see if I can find it. It's called VFX Production for Film and Games, I think is the name of it. So let me see, Amazon. Probably going to see all the stuff that I was looking at, but that's fine. What is it? VFX Production Film Games. So I would recommend, this is a really good one, Visual Effects Handbook. I would say yes, take a look at that. It is amazing, but the book I wanted, no, that's not what I wanted. Production.
When you're ready, I think we have a few questions.
All right, so this book right here would be awesome for you guys to check out. So if you guys can take a look at this book, it's going to save you a lot of trouble and heartache. It's really awesome. I'm just giving, this has nothing to do with Autodesk, to tell you the truth. It just has to do with planning your production. So this is really, really cool. These guys are great. There's actually another book on lighting that was just released. I actually have a lot of stuff on there, but I'll tell you guys about that at a later date. Okay, what other questions do we have? Where's my questions?
One question was, if someone doesn't have training with these tools and has never really had hands-on training, will they be able to understand further webinars going forward?
Yes. That's why I went as basic as I could, and I do apologize for those who are already industry leaders out there that have joined us or have already have some knowledge. So I wanted to just get really basic. We're starting from building blocks. We're going to start basically with a clean slate. We're going to go into Maya. It might be very overwhelming, but I will go very slowly. I'm not going to cover all the UI and everything about it. I'm going to cover just how to do the steps to do what we're going to do. But I'm also going to provide you guys with as many links as possible to how-tos. YouTube is your best friend. Get familiar with it if you would like. If you are a college student, we have educational license for 3 years. Take advantage of it. It's free. And, there's so much material out there, YouTube, Google, and get yourself up to speed. I will cover the steps that I'm going to do in great detail. And at the end of every webinar, this is being recorded, and then we are going to put this up on YouTube. The other thing that I'm going to do, as things get more complex, I'm going to create 1 hour short pre-webinar content, which you'll probably get a week before. So you'll have some time to go through. It'll either be myself or one of the other presenters who will then be creating this content, which will get you up to speed. Like, hey, you know what? For time's sake, I might go faster, but this is how you would do this in a step-by-step. Yep, one more question. Let's go.
We have a question regarding specific training for Motionbuilder. Any helpful links that you think would be best?
As far as Motionbuilder, I know that it hasn't changed much in the past years. It's pretty much the same as it was. Digital Tutors, lynda.com have some really good content. There's a lot of stuff, not as much as some of the other products. You are right, it's a very niche group that uses Motionbuilder. Buzz 3D had some really good stuff when it was back in the day, Kaidara, before Autodesk had bought it. Some of that stuff is still valid. I would say take a look at it. We are going to touch on some, but not all Motionbuilder. We are going to bring in one of our best Motionbuilder guys to give a demo, though. And it looks like we're on top of the hour. If we have time for one more question, we'll do it. I want to thank you guys for coming out. You guys have been great. Thank you for your patience with me, and hopefully we can get more people for the next ones. And yeah, let's make our awesome presentation, and let's keep this going. Thank you so much, guys. Do we have any more questions, Dom? Okay. So without any further ado, it's 3 o'clock on my end here in Boston. Thank you so much for participating, guys. Have a great day.